All right, so are you ready for this? We're going to do a deep dive into Pope Francis and his vision for the upcoming Jubilee year in 2025.
It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, we got the papal bull,
Oh, yeah.
space non-confindit.
I love that it's in Latin.
Yes,
Oh,
hope does not disappoint. Very appropriate.
yeah.
And let me tell you, the thing is dense.
It is a hefty document.
Oh, it is. So we've really had to kind of wade through and bring you I think the most fascinating parts.
Yes, definitely. But it's so interesting how he frames this Jubilee year as this pilgrimage of hope, you know? Especially considering all of the challenges that the world is facing right now.
And he doesn't shy away from naming those challenges either.
No, he does not.
War and poverty.
Declining birth rates.
Yeah, those declining birth rates and just the situations with prisoners and migrants. I mean, he kind of lays it all out there.
He does.
So I guess to start off, can you kind of, for people who maybe aren't as familiar with the Catholic tradition, can you tell us what exactly is a Jubilee year?
So a Jubilee year in the Catholic tradition is this special year of grace and forgiveness that happens every 25 years. And it's a time for pilgrimage and reflection and really spiritual renewal.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a reset button, you
Yeah.
know, like a chance for you to just deepen your faith, reconnect with what matters.
Okay, so a chance to kind of reset and reconnect. And 2025 is a special Jubilee year, right?
It is.
It's not just any 25-year mark.
Exactly. So 2025 is what is called an ordinary Jubilee year, as opposed to the extraordinary ones that they sometimes have.
Okay.
But this one is special because it falls just a few years before the 2033 anniversary of Christ's redemption, which is a huge milestone for the church.
Right.
And then on top of that, Pope Francis pointed out that it's also the 1700th anniversary of the Council of Nicaea, you know, the first ecumenical council.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, lots of historical weight on this one.
So this Jubilee year is like a convergence of all these historical events.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. Okay, but going back to hope, what are some of the ways that Pope Francis wants people to actually bring more hope into the world?
Well, one thing that I think is really interesting is this call to action. You know, he challenges individuals, governments, even the church itself to really step up and address these global issues that we're facing.
Okay, so he's not just offering platitudes or nice words. He's really giving people some concrete things to do.
He is.
So what are some of the things he suggests?
Well, one of the things that he talks about is this idea that wealthier nations should forgive the debts of developing countries. He says that it's not just generosity, it's a matter of justice.
Oh, wow.
And then he also introduces this idea of an ecological debt,
Okay.
highlighting the imbalances between the global north and south in terms of consumption and environmental impact.
That's a really interesting idea. You don't often hear that phrase ecological debt. But when you think about it, it really makes you think about, well, what am I doing to kind of contribute to this imbalance? And what could I do differently?
Yeah, and how are all of our choices interconnected?
Right. Exactly.
And then he also makes a really powerful statement advocating for prison reform and even the abolition of the death penalty.
That's a pretty bold stance,
It is.
especially coming from, the head of the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
I wonder how people are going to take that.
Well, his argument really is rooted in the essence of the Christian faith.
Okay.
Forgiveness and redemption. And in fact, he even suggests opening a holy door in a prison.
Well, a holy door in a prison.
Yeah, as like a symbolic act of hope and solidarity.
Wow, that's a powerful image.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've been talking about some of these big global issues, but how does this all trickle down to just the average person's life?
Well, he really emphasizes this importance of personal pilgrimage,
Okay.
both literally traveling to Rome and also metaphorically as an inner journey.
So it's not just about hopping on a plane to Rome.
No.
It's about something more than that. No.
Exactly. So while Rome is really important in the Jubilee year, he stresses that pilgrimage can be a metaphor for personal growth and self-discovery.
Okay.
He talks about rediscovering the value of silence and effort and simplicity and seeing even our daily lives, even the struggles as these opportunities to draw closer to God.
So even those of us who can't physically make it to Rome can still participate in this journey of hope.
Yes, definitely.
It's about finding those moments of reflection and connection in our own lives, which I really like about it,
Yeah.
Makes it feel very accessible.
Yeah, I think so too. And he grounds this idea of pilgrimage in tradition, So he refers to things like the pardon of St. Celestine V back in 1294 and St. Francis, and the Porciuncola indulgence and the pilgrimages to Santiago de Compostela,
Mm.
all of these expressions of pilgrimage and grace.
So he's really like tapping into this rich history,
Yeah.
but also adapting it to kind of modern times. It's a really
Yeah.
interesting blend of the old and the new. But what about those historical anniversaries that we talked about earlier? Like, how do those fit into all of this?
So he places this year within this larger historical and theological context.
Yeah.
It's a culmination of past celebrations, but also a bridge to future milestones.
So he's kind of weaving together this tapestry of time and
Yeah,
tradition.
exactly. He sees this Jubilee year as this chance for the church to offer light in these dark times.
Yeah.
And for individuals to rediscover their own capacity for hope, and the fact that Easter will fall on the same date for most Christian denominations in 2025 is something that he sees as this really hopeful sign towards this greater Christian unity.
Oh, so that's where the 1700th anniversary of that Council of Nicaea comes in.
Right.
It's almost like he's using this Jubilee year to like nudge the church towards that unified celebration of Easter.
Yeah.
That's really fascinating.
Yeah, he sees it as this pivotal moment for the church to reaffirm its commitment to unity and compassion and, above all, hope.
That's a lot to take in,
It is.
but in a good way.
Yeah,
There's just so much here to unpack.
there is.
And speaking of hope, one thing that I wanted to touch on before we move on is this whole role of Mary, the Mother of God.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like he really puts a special emphasis on her in this papal bull.
He does.
So what do you think he's getting at there?
Well, he highlights Mary as this model of hope, especially when we face suffering, you
Yeah.
know? He points to her unwavering faith, even as she witnessed the crucifixion of her own son.
Yeah.
And he kind of draws this parallel between her experience and the challenges that we're all facing today,
Right.
urging us to kind of find strength and solace in her example.
Yeah. I mean, it really makes you realize if she can find hope in that moment,
Yeah,
then maybe we can find hope in our own lives too,
exactly.
no matter what we're going through.
And he also connects this to the upcoming 5th centenary of Our Lady of Guadalupe in 2031,
Right.
which is a huge event for the church, particularly in the Americas.
So he's tying together all these Marian traditions,
He is.
highlighting their relevance for this Jubilee.
Yeah.
It's about finding strength in our faith and our traditions, even in the face of adversity.
Yeah.
I'm sensing a theme here.
There's definitely a theme.
This has been a really incredible start to our deep dive.
Yeah.
I'm feeling very energized, and I'm curious to explore more.
Me too. We've just scratched the surface here.
Yeah.